So part of that, I'm going to move on now. Are you ready? So societies existed which promoted the practices of natural mind. And so societies can also be constructed which inhibit the development of natural mind, and the American culture is one of those, probably because it's kind of young. So even so, in a world with a lot of pain and suffering, a principal skill with natural mind is self-soothing, relying on inner resources to bring a sense of calm, order, fulfillment, and a sense of direction, especially in times of adversity. And one of these inner resources is a sense of connection and relationship to the rest of your world as well as with yourself. That's one of the principal skills. So this is a quote from Einstein. And it's his answer to a rabbi who asked him how to teach his daughter to deal with racial prejudice. And this is his answer. A human being is a part of the whole, called by us the universe, limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings, as something separated from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of his consciousness. This delusion of separation is a prison, restricting us to our personal desires and to affection for a few persons close to us. Our task must be to free ourselves from our prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all of humanity and the whole of nature in its beauty. Well, this is an example of natural mind. The quote goes on to say, nobody does this completely, but the effort itself is part of the journey and worthwhile. So, natural mind then connects you to the balanced forces of life you're a part of. Addictive mind and addiction disconnects you from the forces of life that you're a part of so that you begin to live out of balance. And if you live out of balance long enough, it seems normal. Like I said, it was so bad it got good to them. And addiction is slavery. So, for example, the Confederacy was a nation based on slavery, forcing Africans to be subservient, illiterate, monolingual, monocultural, and addicted. Cocaine and alcohol, for example, were supplied to slaves. It was not based on freedom for everyone. So, why go there? America is not based on the principles of natural mind. Major influence institutions require you to be addicted in some fashion in order for them to survive. And that addiction requires you be consciously unaware of it for it to continue. So it presents being out of balance, inequity, injustice as normal, and a weakness in the individual, not a problem in society. So within African American culture, our practitioners feel that health is not just physical health, but it includes justice, economic, moral, and legal equity as part of full recovery. Not just freedom from addiction to substances. No justice, no peace. So as an example, addiction requires the reinforcement of a lie or a series of lies which create an illusion of, well, you can fill in the blank, an illusion of peace. So as Ann Wilson Schaef talks about, when society becomes an addict, which is a great book if you've never read it or heard about it, anything you have to lie about is probably part of some addictive process for you. Natural mind requires attention to what actually produces real health, balance, and growth. Yeah, okay. So if we're talking about balance, the first thing you need to do is in the confrontation of addiction is bring into balance your mind. So the way we do that first things first, is through the breath. So in Aramaic, as an example, since a lot of people identify as Christians, the language that Yeshua spoke, Aramaic, the word for Holy Spirit literally means breath. In Aramaic, aheb lav wel bakun, which is translated to English, love your enemies, is actually instructions on how to do it. So it says in the instructions, in the translation from that phrase, which has multiple meanings in Aramaic, bring yourself back into rhythm within. So rhythm within is the breath, because you can't control your heartbeat instantly. You have to start with the breath. So bring yourself back into rhythm within. So that would mean the rhythm of the breath, slow, cooling, powerful. So for example, in LA traffic under the influence of caffeine, I breathe 20 times a minute in an agitated fashion. So slow it down. If you don't know what to do, breathe slower. Become more still. Now, one goal is, which will take a while to achieve, even with practice, what I'm about to teach you every day, you want to get to a place where you can breathe one breath in a minute. Good luck with that.
Yeah, sounds hard.
It can be done.
Wow.
This is an ancient symbol from Egypt, the 0 point. The 0 point is before the universe began, there's a concentrated point. Creation starts at the top of the pyramid. The pyramid represents creation. The 0 point is before creation manifests. So if this were your mind, this is like your mind creating the reality that you see. If you thought about this as like a stone in a pond, the ripples are like thoughts. It's actually a technique for some forms of meditation. The Egyptian yoga in full lotus. So to be one-pointed is to be at the start of creation before it becomes visible. So think of it like the clear pond before when the stone is dropped, and ripples move out. Thoughts are the ripples. So this is like a mind with lots of thoughts. See all those thoughts, all those ripples. Basically, given that your brain has billions, let's say 100 billion neurons in it, each of them has 200 connections to all the cells around them. If all of them were firing at once, not all of them are, but if all of them were firing at once and you could put words to those impulses, that message traffic is like 5,000 to 10,000 words per second. If you could put words to them. Now, how do you, that would be overwhelming. But your normal balance of brain chemicals screens a lot of that out. All right? So if you sit down in meditation and your mind is basically like this all the time, to begin to slow it down or to create less waves, it becomes a little clearer till it looks like this. And this is the same body of water that I took in different sections of it when the wind was moving and not moving. Okay, so the rocks, I mean, you can't even see the water. So, a man sitting on a rock contemplates eternity. The stone grumbles. So, following breath exercises, sitting practices, teaching you how to sit still, be still and know thyself, mind follows the breath, and boredom follows a shallow breath. Slower, deeper breath allows you to focus beyond the boredom. So if we teach you to sit still, then you become still when you stand and stay put in your convictions and be able to take a stance. If you wish to walk purposefully, breath can help you do that. So I'll teach you one resonance breath, and then the rest of them will be put up on the site because we got 7 minutes left, roughly. So quartered breathing, count to 10 Zen, pranayama, 5-element breath, kundalini yoga, long deep breathing, and the breath of fire. So many of these practices use mantra from the word in Sanskrit, mind ki, mantra, mind ki. These are mnemonic devices to help you remember, usually from a vibrational language, really old one. So basically, if you start with, your breath is divided into the inhale and exhale. There's a Native American song, mantra, good where we've been. You can use that on the inhale. Good where we've been. Exhale, good where we're going to. In Aramaic, Allah, which is a word for the supreme, one word for the supreme being. Inhale, Allah, and exhale, Allah. I and I, inhale, Ena, exhale, Ena. If you're Catholic, God, you recall Kyrie eleison as the inhale, God have mercy, Christ have mercy, inhale, exhale. In Kundalini Yoga, we use Sat Nam, truth is your name. Inhale Sat, exhale Nam. From the Buddhist tradition, Om Mani Padme Hum as an inhale, exhale, single mantra. Lots of different ones. Very old tradition. So the 1 to 2 resonance breath. 5 count in, 10 count out. The idea is this. For 5, you breathe from your diaphragm, sitting out with a straight spine. In breath, you count on the inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And on the exhale, count 10. So the exhale is longer than the inhale. That's one complete breath cycle. So for example, if you want to establish a rhythm, 1 1000, 2 1000, or 1 chimpanzee, 2 chimpanzee, 1 Mississippi, 1 Alaha, whatever, between each count. Take 10 breaths minimum. Now, if you breathe this way, each breath cycle takes 15 seconds. 4 breaths in a minute. Good practice to learn to breathe in 1 breath in a minute. Okay? If you slow the breath down. Instead of, when they say when you're angry, take a deep breath. No, don't take a deep breath. Take 10 in this rhythm. This is not my opinion. This is the science. When you do this is a 2.5-minute cycle, you produce an automatic neurotransmitter change in your brain. Okay? That can be sustained and can be irreversible. Okay? It will put you in a different state than the one you were in if you started this when you were angry. The reason for your anger may still be there, but you'll be able to step back from it better. And it only takes 2.5 minutes to do that. So, take 10 deep breaths. So you can do this eyes open or eyes closed, especially depending on your circumstances, but of course don't close your eyes in front of the enemy. Watch them. So eventually this becomes reflex if you practice it enough. So assuming a 15-minute cycle for each breath, 15-second cycle for each breath is about 2.5 minutes, which is cheaper than beer or joint or Prozac. And they're not charging for breathing yet. Copy that, 2 minutes. So quartered breathing. Breathing from your diaphragm, the in-breath count 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold, or actually suspend the breath, relaxed, 1, 2, 3, 4. Out breath, count 1, 2, 3, 4. And then hold out 1, 2, 3, 4. You could actually do this right after the 2-to-1 resonance breath, because you'll be set up for it already. Okay? If these are seconds, this breath cycle is about 20 seconds, or 3 breaths to a minute. So we're getting towards that 1 breath in a minute goal slowly. See how I'm trickily teaching you how to do this? Okay? And attempt to slow it down to 30 seconds or 2 breaths in a minute. Now, you have to be in a quiet or still place to do this. Obviously, you don't want to do this while driving. I mean, it's possible, but like I said, when I'm in LA traffic or even rush hour in Eugene, yeah, Ferry Street Bridge, 5 minutes ago. Yeah, that's rush hour. Get real. Anyway, 20 breaths per minute. I've clocked it. Right? So you're agitated. Notice where you are, what your breath is doing when you're bored. Oh, I'm bored. Yeah, notice where your breath is. Is it shallow or is it long and deep? Long, deep breathing eliminates boredom. So work in suspension of breath instead of hold. So suspension of breath is the breath stops and you're relaxed on the in and the out. And try 1 breath a minute within this practice. All right. This will be up along with the links later today and in a day.
My friend was really into it. And every time I try to do that,
Indiana Jazz.